Hello there, I'm JayCaulls. Good to see you again. If you haven't already, check out the rest of the Andretti series to get up to date and just to see how important this episode is going to be. Make sure you like the video if you haven't already and subscribe to the channel. Check out the rest of the content that we do from Motorsport Manager to the sim racing with iRacing and Assetto Corsa, and in future a little bit of F1 Manager as well. But we go into today's final 3 races of the season, needing points or else we're going to get the sack pretty much. Frost did well for us as reserve driver, stepping up to the plate, but I feel we need somebody who can actually get us points, someone who can go toe to toe with Herta, someone who can keep me at Andretti, and that person is Jenson Button. That's right, the one-time Formula 1 world champion, one-time Super GT winner. He goes straight in as a main driver. Now, even though there's quite a big cost to it, if it keeps me in the job and gives us bonuses for races, I'm more than happy to have that. Now we can focus on the season. We can focus with both Colton Herta and Jenson Button, grabbing Andretti Autosport some much needed points. As well as being a superstar on the track, Colton Herta is a superstar off it as well, volunteering, serving food at shelters, signing some memorabilia. Despite being in central London, half of people probably still don't know who he is just yet anyway, and we will see all that on eBay later. But anyway, good guy Herta. The situation we find ourselves in at the moment, we are in 9th place. We need to get Andretti Autosport into 7th. Pre-race weekend, we need an absolute colossal effort to get these points. All our parts are fitted, and I can confidently say we are ready to roll. We will set about using our newfound Giga technique of using the super overtake mode for Colton Herta during qualifying. After it grabs us a pole, we should be confident now of Colton constantly getting some top 5s now, and it will grab us some points. I'm absolutely sure of it. One thing I didn't really take into contention with signing Jenson Button, he is going to start off with low form. This is fine, but hopefully he can still get a decent position. We'll see where this goes. For Button, well, I didn't take the low form into account as much as it's played out here. Button, just even with low form, is going to end up getting into the top 20. Just Colton Herta, meanwhile, after his lap, getting into 4th. So at least with a 2nd row, we have a decent place for Herta to begin, and Jenson can start mid-pack and show us what he's made of. For the race, we have ourselves a little bit of a challenge here. There is going to be a little bit of rain at the start. I don't think it's going to be quite enough though to warrant completely changing the tyres to start off with. We'll start both drivers under ultra softs, and we'll just try our best to A, get through the mess at the start with Button, and B, try and get Colton as far into the front as possible. Just a few places after the first few corners, Herta settles himself up for 6th place. An army of cars behind him. Button climbing up pretty nicely as well. Main aim here is not to have Button push so hard. Just to avoid any mistakes, any penalties which F2 seems to give out. Just as if they're chocolate. Herta's going to be struggling around some of these corners, but if we can try and keep both drivers as close to that top 10 as possible, even a couple of points, there's still points on the board. After a fantastic pass just there from Button onto Vesti, look who we got in front of us. We're going to be having a quick battle with Kirkwood once we get that 14th place back. Should be nice and spicy. Herta just hanging on to that top 10. Going to be just easing up a little bit, depending on what the temperatures and the track conditions like later. We may need all the tyre wear we can get. Coming up now is the move that we all secretly wanted to see. Look at that, expertly done. But lap 8, we find ourselves into an awkward situation I didn't really think about, to be honest. What if Button catches up to Herta? Or what if Herta catches up to Button? Do I really want to use team orders to let the other one go? And as you can see, Button trying to overtake Herta at the moment. Hold on to that 10th and 11th. I kind of don't want to let these two race in case an incident happens, but at the same time, I mean, they won't do it in real life F1, but I've got no problem with teammates fighting. Here is Button getting really close to Colton just there, and Colton shutting the door. This is losing us a little bit of time, but do still have some pit stops to go, and we still have to see if any weather changes are going to be happening anytime soon. A few laps passed and Button ended up backing off slightly, starting to get into a battle with Kirkwood and the rest for that 10th place. Herta, we can start pushing a little bit more now as we're coming up to half-life left on the tyres. If we can try and get a few extra places with Herta, get himself a little bit of a gap between him and Jenson Button, just in case the weather changes to a point that we do need to do a double stack. Hopefully that shouldn't be the case, but you can never be too careful. Every second that Herta is in front though will aid us greatly. Not enough for a safety car though. Safety car, another variable I didn't even think about in this race. We've been very unlucky with safety cars as well. Will this one, if there is one, put a spanner in the works in the race? Potential spanner number 1. It's raining soon, and very soon. Catching me slightly off guard here. By the looks of it, it's going to be going on for a little while, and it's only getting stronger. We will switch to inters with both drivers in due course, and hopefully it will rain for the rest of the race, meaning we can try and keep both cars into the top 10 if possible. By lap 20 we had both cars in, both switch over to intermediates. We didn't double stack, we had Herta going first and Button afterwards. It's given us a few seconds gap between 17th and 16th, a bit of a larger gap between 18th and 19th, and the majority of the field still to pit. Hopefully within the next few laps our 16th and 17th can hopefully turn into more favourable point scoring positions. It took another 4 laps for everyone to actually eventually go in and pit, but the gamble starting to pay off, as you saw with the points standing on the left hand side there. We are grabbing a couple. I think we can get some more, but we'll see how the rest of the race goes at this point. Hughes behind Herta, still to pit, but it looks like Button going in for the kill there, and he does. Same with Sargent as well. So 7th and 8th place with just over 10 laps left. Fingers crossed we can save the tyres a little bit and last until the end. With 8 laps left, dilemma number 2 / spanner in the works number 2 reared its ugly head. In the last 3 laps of the race, by the looks of it, the rain's going. Now, do we stay out in inters, or do we go into the pits and potentially switch to a softer compound and overtake those with inters? It's in the end we kept both drivers out. It's a gamble, but will it pay off? As eventually a couple of drivers in front of us and behind us will change compounds. With 2 laps left, the impossible happened and everybody in front of us jumped into the pits. Put Herta up to 2nd, Button up to 3rd. With the amount of water not on the track at the moment, we can see everyone quickly approaching. We're not going to hold at 2nd and 3rd. Button trying his best, but is slowly getting pipped, and that driver up in 3rd is actually a rival team around the same amount of points as us. This is going seriously wrong. If it wasn't for the massive gap between 7th and 8th and 9th right now, I'd be worrying a little bit more. Herta in 6th, Button in 7th. We have 2 laps left. Can they hold it? And it got really, really close between Button and Saucy. It's that close. That close. But a 6th place and a 7th place. Oh, a very, very good point score and a fantastic debut from Button as well, keeping up with Herta. Both of their forms at the end, the mirror of what they were in qualifying. But 6th and 7th, taking that. Mr. Andretti is also going to be taking that. Expected result 7th, we came in 4th. A load of happiness just there, nearly up to 100%. Markability going up too, with the traits that Button and Colton Herta have got as well. Markability is going up, which is important as we do have new sponsorships coming through very soon. And it's good to see that we're still making a positive amount of money as well, even with the big wages of Jenson Button. With old sponsors gone, we can look to the future and get some new ones in. We will be trying to get some per race capita in. It would be nice to have some money up front, but I think if we're going to start with contract renewals at the end of the season as well, and with Button's wages, we need to start getting some money in per race just to keep us above and just to give us that little extra bit of security. We do have 3 slots which are going to be over in one more race as well, so it makes sense just to get the per race money sorted, and then we can look at big bonuses afterwards. Guildford is next, and with low tyre wear we might be able to play that into account, do some testing just to see if our tyres can truly go all the way, or where if not it does affect our stops. But this is another race where if we can get a slightly bigger amount of points than last time, that'd be a bonus. But at the same time, the championship is so close right now, any points will do us good. This is the penultimate GP. Let's do our best. You know the score by now. Using the Super Overtake engine mode on the qualifying. Let's just run it and see what we get. It's a tight pack. This time, in terms of qualifying, Button coming in and getting 16th place. Herta with a purple middle sector, and Herta gets a pole position. We've still got a few people left for doing their laps, but second pole of the season for Herta, and that is the case. GG's, Colton Herta. Another 2 points in the bag. A big race calls for some big decisions, tactics-wise. And as you can see from the bonuses just there, I am going for medium tyre bonuses, only because I want to keep Jenson on mediums for the whole race. And Colton being in front, I want to try and get some time between him and everybody else before making that first pit stop. So with that, we'll see how that goes. Colton Herta with a very surprisingly strong start, holding off quite a few people. If we go a few more corners, he does eventually yield, but no, solid stuff. 4th place. Button, though, not having such a great time himself, falling back down the pack. What we'll end up doing here is pretty much the same tactics as last race with Button. Just do not get into an accident. Take a few places here and there when the field starts to spread out a bit more. Colton Herta dropping down to 5th with 6th and 7th fast approaching. We're going to keep him pushing because I found keeping everything on neutral, the tyre temperature on this track goes down so quick, and this wasn't something that I took into consideration during the practice or the qualifying, but we may need to do a pit stop a little bit earlier. Tyre temperature management is going to be key. If we can keep those tyre temperatures up for longer than everybody else, we're going to be gaining precious tenths. As it stands, lap 4, Colton Herta 4th place, Jenson Button 21st. We come back 10 laps later to find Colton Herta doing really well in 3rd, and Jenson Button battling all the way up to 10th. And then a dilemma and a very interesting situation where it works out perfect for Colton Herta. For Button, we're going to might lose a few paces here, but we're going to switch both to mediums. We are going to double stack as well. Colton is that far in front, and with a safety car out, Herta can come into the pits at the perfect time, get onto those mediums, which are in theory supposed to last about 40 laps. And Button can get his refresh just there as well. We'll set all the strategies down to the lowest. Save on tyres, save on fuel. Herta comes out in 3rd, Button down in 11th, but a few people here have swapped to a soft compound again. This means that they absolutely will have to pit again, and we might not need to again until the very end. We shall see if any more drama happens, and if this goes wrong for everybody else and there's not another safety car, Herta and Button could potentially be both in the points again. On the final lap of the safety car out, we decide to put attack on the tyres just to get a little bit of temperature in, and we're pushing Herta straight away to see if we can get 2nd, and he goes even better. He actually manages to take the lead. Don't know how long that's going to last. Button staying in 11th at the moment. If you look at all the tyre choices on the left hand side, there's not very many people on mediums at all, but I do feel if we can manage the tyres, we do not need to pit for the rest of the race. And if we can keep within 15 seconds of the leaders, then we could get some pretty high finishes here. Colton Herta still in front just by 2 tenths. Button getting up to 10th, so we now have 2 Andretti cars in the points positions, and speed up the race a bit. And we're actually probably due to having overtake modes on the tyres and the engine, we're actually doing pretty well, and Button is climbing up pretty well as well. We've got plenty of fuel left in the Delta. Tyres are at a decent level. We're going to start getting some temperature into those tyres as soon as we push a little bit less but keep up the warming up of the tyres. And this tactic could go pretty well for Button as he looks to keep in the top 10, but Colton Herta, he is already 3 seconds in front. Coming up to halfway through the race, all it's going to take now is a little bit of consistency, which both drivers have in absolute bucketfuls, and we could, after everybody on softs is going to have to pit again. No one can last 20 laps on softs. I think we could last the race. I seriously think we could last the race. Look at those points just there. If we somehow hold on to 1st and 10th, Andretti is going to leapfrog a load of the opposition. This would put us safe in our job until the last race. Obviously, anything can happen in the last race, but if this keeps as it does, I'll be absolutely chuffed with that. That would be a fantastic result. It's probably not going to happen. We have the worst car on the grid, but can Herta's driving ability still keep us within at least a podium? It's just going to be interesting to see what happens once everybody on soft tyres starts to pit, and by the looks of it, obviously it was a safety car which brought a load of people in, but those soft tyres must be coming to their limit now. It is 10 laps to go, and we can start to see a load of people pitting now. This puts Button up to 6th place. 10 laps to go, 49% on each driver's tyres. We can last 10 laps on these tyres. Determined to do it now as we're looking at 2nd place. Once 2nd place jumps into the pits, we can see how far up Button goes as he climbs another position. It's a 5th. 6th place going into the pits now, and there's a big 14-second gap between 5th and 6th place. Obviously everyone has changed to soft compounds, so we're going to be finding a lot of pace lost, but there is 2nd in pits. We have an Andretti Autosport 1-2 at the moment with 8 laps left. Time to conserve those tyres, time to try and just keep the cars going. The tyres are going to be cold, but this is a strategy I feel it is worth gambling on. This is going to be close. For these last few laps, I'm hoping and praying that there's no safety car. Unfortunately, Schwartzman able to get past Button. The softer tyre compound just doing the job there. Button onto 34% left on the tyres. This is going to be close. So close. Herta does have a nice 17-second cushion, though as you can see by the times, it is now down to 16.9, 16.6, 15.9. We might have to tell Herta to hurry himself up. He has a lot of fuel left in the Delta, so we can push a little bit as we get Button onto a decent engine mode just there. Colton, you need to start pushing. I'm not going to skip these last 2 laps. As we see 11 seconds left now between Herta and Schwartzman. Schwartzman, by the time we're not even halfway through the track, has already got it to underneath 10 seconds. He's on 9.5. We're pushing Colton, getting up to a higher energy output. Button going down to 4th place. Button on 28% of the tyres. Those tyres are degrading fast. Button with a 0.7 lead over 5th place. Button might fall another place here. Meanwhile, Herta is 7.4 in front. Onto the last corner. And Colton Herta wins a race for Andretti Autosport. We did it! We actually won a race. And we did it on the first season as well. Button with a 4th place, holding off Armstrong. What a finish. I don't even care that Kirkwood got points as well, but Colton Herta, take a bow. That's absolutely beautiful. Never thought we'd see it this season. I didn't even think we would get a win next season either, to be honest. But Colton Herta, this is just how tight the mid-pack is for the Drivers' Championships. So Colton Herta going up to 3rd place on the Drivers' standings. Schwartzman just absolutely dominating that with that nasty human being in 2nd there. Anyway, also up to 5th place for Andretti Autosport. Effectively safe with a nice 25. No, I can't do maths. No, I can. It is 25 points between us and 7th place. It would take a hell of a collapse to lose us now. And I think for the first time we got the chairman's happiness to 100%. Look at all that income with all the sponsorship now. Nearly getting $1 million per race. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting 1 or 2 new sponsors after this race too. In fact, we're getting 3 new sponsors. Now, I know the plan was to get some upfront payments, but we're actually backed into a little bit of a corner with this one. All 3 of them offering us no lump sums, having to rely on the prize money. So that will mean we'll have to save a little bit more. But to be honest, it lasts for 11. This is an 11 race one, so that's going to last all through next season as well. Our main sponsor will have to be changed at some point next season, but when we come to that, we'll get to it. It's lucky I like Converse. Converse, sponsor me IRL, please. Now then, I've had some strange dilemmas come up on this game, but this is up there. Jenson, just follow your heart. I know she's not over at any age. I should start searching for what I can get. Oh my god. Just go with your heart. Don't upset anyone. It'll be good for the sponsors. Yeah, it'll be good for the sponsors. As we did that, we saw that mechanic relationship went down, which is no big deal, but the morale went up. So hopefully that means that Jenson can get some even better results than before. And do you know what else is being made happy? Michael Andretti himself. Fantastic. And Colton Herta has a new haircut. So majestic. Suave. We've also been hit with the news I was kind of dreading, and that is with the contract renewals that we have up at the end of the season, including Colton as well. So we must do everything we can to keep him. Hopefully with the amount of sponsorship money we're getting now per race, we can up the offers if needed and get Colton signed on. The rest of the drivers, we'll see. We might have to cut Frost, but like I said, we'll see what happens. If Jenson's going to stay with us for the rest of the next season as well, then I think the 2 drivers we're going to have are going to be good enough. When it comes to the mechanics and backstage crew, we could do better than some of those, but we'll try and sign who we have, especially with that super overtake option for Colton. But this is it, final race of the season, and we come into this a lot less stressed than we have been the last 2 races. After that incredible win at Guildford, we are putting into a fantastic position in 5th at the moment. As long as we can finish at least 7th in the driver's standings, we will keep our job. But I'd like to just pick up a handful of points for both of these drivers, just to set ourselves with a good amount of morale for the start of next season. I don't even need to say anything at this point. We know how qualifying's going to go. Super overtake, quick tyres. Let's see where we finish. Colton gets in the 4th place, and with Jenson Button's result here, I think it's probably safe to say just trust one driver with qualifying, because whoever we hire for our second driver just can't do it. The aim of this race is just to phone it in, hopefully get a small handful of points, make sure disasters don't happen and we somehow finish 8th. It's near enough impossible, so let's just go out and enjoy this race. Great start once again from Herta. Button sort of battling around the 20s before going a little bit wide and dropping down a few more places, but man, Herta the last few races has just really come into his own. Going up into 1st place, he's got quite a queue of cars behind him. I think once we stop pushing, we'll probably have to surrender some of those places. Button's still struggling down in 21st, so we're just looking for little gaps. We might have to wait for the field to spread out a little bit, then we can unleash Jenson. Jenson nearly losing 22nd there. Then a lap later, Herta just getting into a little bit of scuffle just there. Not found to have broken any rules, but the collision just there causing the front wing and the suspension to go down. We're gonna have to pit now, because we can't go on with parts of the car looking like this. It's a long pit stop. Herta's going to be coming out into 24th. That could be his race over. We might have to depend on a safety car. But until then, we're just going to have to focus on Button and try and get him up the field until Herta can catch up. And on lap 10, we did get a safety car. Unfortunately, it was at the expense of Colton Herta crashing. Oh. Well. Oh. I guess Herta's had enough this season. Oh man, that's rough. Right, let's switch over to Button then. We are going to change tyres. Hopefully we can keep these tyres until the rest of the race. It's going to be a challenge, but with 3 laps of the safety car, fingers crossed we can do it. Let's focus on Button and let's finish the race as strong as we can. With a little bit of time management in, and starting off in 20th place, Button having an absolutely torrid restart after the safety car and battling for 22nd. It might just have to go to a case where we'll attack for a little bit, we'll try and get through everybody, and we'll see how it goes once the field spreads out a little bit more. We've still got 35 laps left. Like we're only just probably about a third through the race, but I have faith. 10 laps pass and Button makes an absolute Herculean effort to get himself up to 12th place. Then with an Iwasa crash, the safety car gets brought out again. Now, I wish that this had happened a few laps later, so then we can change Jenson's compound confidently. But with 23 laps left, I was really 50-50 with which tyres I was going to choose. We went for the ultra softs in the end because we do have the performance bonus on there. Plus, if we manage the tyres right, with the 3 laps of safety car as well, we should be able to get a decent run on those tyres. Everyone else is going to be pitting. Jenson Button as well. Let's get back to the safety car restart. Getting some heat in the tyres right at the last moment. Plenty of fuel in the delta. We can push, we can overtake. Button sets off. Time to try to break into that top 10 with less than 20 laps left now. Button gets into 10th, and we are well on our way to hopefully scoring a couple of points. Within a few laps though, it was starting to not look so great for Jenson, as everyone was pushing, everyone had their overtake on, and as we're trying to save for tyres, we were slowly fading down this field. It's almost as if we've got a little bit of damage, but it's just the car at this stage of the season. It is the worst car on the grid, and if everyone else is going to start pushing, then we're just going to end up suffering from it, as Jenson dropping down to 17th and 18th. It's just, it could be a very painful last 14 laps of the race. That ended up being the case, as with 4 laps left, front wing of Jenson Button ended up going. After doing those changes, there was also a penalty for a collision, so we can effectively say that is the end of our race and the end of our season. However, looking at the points, we survived. We live to fight another day as manager of Andretti Autosport. It's been an absolutely fantastic season. Capped off with that win in Guildford, which I never would have thought would be happening in a million years. So we can at least be positive and happy about that, and look forward to the challenge of next season. It does look like, however, a slight minor disaster could be happening with Colton Herta, as that fitness just dropping down so quick. Hopefully if it is an injury, it's an extremely minor one. Marketability going down slightly, but to be honest, apart from Jenson's morale being slightly lower, we're in a good place for next season, I'm sure. And a massive congratulations to the winners of F2, with their prize being promotion to Formula 1. That's right, in this mod there is promotions and relegations. It's only one team down, one team up, but do I see that team surviving in Formula 1? Nope. But it also begs the question, who's going to be relegated and join us next season? I haven't really looked at the prize money for this series. I'm just assuming it's 10 bit. Oh boy, is that a mistake? Michael just being like, this kind of money making is exactly what I like to see. And just like, yeah, it is. 50 mil? God, that's gonna go a long way. Long way. Turns out with all the rule changes that we were going through and recording this season, none of them actually got approved, which I didn't even cross my mind. Promotions, relegations, hang on, dams will drop down, isn't that where Kirkwood is? Did Kirkwood get relegated? Oh dear sir, looks like the grass isn't actually greener on the other side. That slightly sucks. Meanwhile, Porsche are going to be going down and joining us now. They're going to have a lot of money. Their drivers are next level as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if their drivers end up being the best in F2. The car's probably going to be the best in F2 as well. They will be the team to beat next season. Just going to quickly give you lot a minute or two just to see what the final standings were in Formula 1, 2 and 3. Now, I would call that a successful season. Despite the car being absolute dog for the majority of the season, our drivers carried us through, and despite there being a short Herta injury possibly at the start of next season, I feel we can hit the ground running and perhaps start to get some points on the board consistently. With funding on the car, being a little bit higher towards the end of the season. It'll be interesting to see how good we can start off with before applying upgrades. But I've enjoyed this. I hope you lot have too. Let me know in the comments underneath how you found the series. Also let me know in the comments who we should manage in F1 2022 when that gets released. I've already decided in my head, and I will announce it next video if you haven't already heard it on the streams. But it should be a good story, but we will carry on with a season 2 of this. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you all so much again. Like the video, subscribe, and I will see you all as we start pre-season. How well is it going to go? Can we re-sign Colton Herta? Even now I keep nearly calling him Colton Herta. Can we get him re-signed? And see if we can improve on the staff as well. Take care, and I'll see you all next video. Look after yourselves and each other.